This is a regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. Today is September 20th, 2018. Madam Recording Secretary, please take roll call.
Commissioner Garcia.
Here.
Commissioner Rubio.
Here.
Commissioner Cha.
Here.
Commissioner Sierra.
Here.
Madam Chair, we have a quorum.
Okay, so seeing that we have a quorum, this meeting is officially called to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. This is the time for the Commission to consider matters under consent calendar. Items include number 1 and 2. Do we have any corrections to the minutes or any items they wish to pull up for separate discussion or abstain on? Okay, so then do I have a motion to consider items 1 and 2?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so the matter is approved by unanimous consent. We have one work study session. Please know that there will be no motion or action taken on these items. The item we have for discussion is on community listening sessions. Staff?
Hey, good evening, commissioners. If I can direct you to the PowerPoint printout in front of you. We've listed, outlined how the community listening sessions will unfold. We've thought about how, since this is a time for election time and people's focus are elsewhere and the participation may not be as much before November, we decided just to push it to January, start then, and then do it quarterly from then. So it would be January, April, and July. And then from 6 to 8. And that way it's more possible to get full participation from our commissioners as well as our elected officials. And we were looking to hold these listening sessions at community centers and parks, and that would make it part of Santa Ana, and it would be more accessible to residents and folks who live around the areas, because we want to spread it to the different wards. Some wards may not have available spaces in community centers, but we'll look for alternative spaces. The purpose of these listening sessions is to introduce arts and culture commissioners, particularly when the new ones are appointed, and staff from Arts and Culture Office, to let the community know that we now have such a thing as an office of point person, which is myself and Gabby, so that they can go to somebody. So I don't know how many people actually know that at this point, as well as the community development agency staff members, such as Mark or Stephen. We want to present the priorities that we have come up with as a commission from the master plan to the community, and then give them an opportunity to share their calendar of events. I'm hoping that before then, I'm working right now actually with IT to have a link to a calendar that will be on our webpage, and then send that ahead of time so that they can populate that calendar that way ahead of time. And hopefully at these meetings we can pass out what people have put on and then add more to it. So it wouldn't take, that work will be done prior to their coming to this meeting and not at that meeting so much. But then we can talk about different things. We can talk about different people's New Year's or things like that, so people can be aware of, well, don't do your big project during that time because nobody's going to show up. Or if you want to include that population, they're not going to be there. And then, of course, open up discussion for the community so that they can just share with us their thoughts about the priorities, how they want to be engaged, things like that. On the next page, we will be inviting residents, of course, because this will impact them the most, artists and arts organizations, business community folks, around their city leadership, including elected officials and staff and the steering committee, so that they can have an opportunity to come back and be part of this. We will be outreaching through our email list, social media, Nixle, that will be translated into different languages, neighborhood associations, and community organizations. So that's our outline for that. Are there any feedback from commissioners or anything else that we have overlooked, or do you think we should add something to us?
I have a question about the actual listening session. If
Yes.
you're going to be putting out the materials in other languages, will the listening session will there be translation services?
Yes, we're hoping to have simultaneous translation. We do have the equipment. But also what we want to do is ask people ahead of time to indicate if they needed translation. That way we can gauge, do we just need somebody to just sit next to somebody, or do we want to have a whole system brought out, depending on how many people request it.
So I think, the last meeting, the last month, we kind of went into a discussion about why the listening sessions were suggested. Just for Commissioner Rubio, I don't know if you have been brought up to speed on what we're trying to accomplish with the listening sessions, but basically it's it kind of stemmed from some things that happened, I guess, in the past, where there were a lot of organizations, different stakeholders who felt that they had not been able to have a voice in participating on the different things that the Arts Commission was involved with. And so this is a very formal setting, and there's very limited things that we can talk about with folks in the community. So we just we were discussing the idea of going around to the various wards and inviting all the stakeholders to have a casual conversation, and the idea would be to also everybody promote their events, to cross promote, so that we have some sort of that we're not so siloed, right? And I think that's I think that was the basic purpose of it. In terms of I would also maybe suggest inviting neighboring cities, maybe if they have an arts commissioner or a commissioner or liaison, like for example, like from Westminster and Garden Grove, there's certain holidays that are heavily popularly celebrated over there, and also maybe inviting schools or students, maybe art teachers or whatever,
Yes.
theater. Just so that we can start kind of creating a more cohesive art base and culture base.
Those are great suggestions. Thank you, Commissioner Cha.
And I think this is a great idea. I think this is something that in the 4 years since the commission has been formed, this seems like a no-brainer. But I'm glad that it's being done.
Thank you.
Okay, so I guess it's now time for, wait, I'm so sorry. Should I bring up the other issue, the other thing, or council?
I think
This
during the comments, that's when should bring up to put on the agenda for the
Or I'd like to
public art policy.
When she should put it on the agenda?
or when we can talk about it. Right now,
So are we done with the study session
correct.
and moving on? So
Any other comments from any commissioners about
we
the?
can do it during commissioner comments. I know before I said after work study session, but probably commissioner
Okay.
comments needed.
Okay. So, does the public have any comments that they wish to share with the commission?
That's you guys. No comment.
Okay. Does the staff have any comments they wish to share with the commission?
Yes, I just have a couple of updates. The art lighting for the public restroom is finally installed, so if you want to go out there and take a look, there still needs a few tweaks that needs to be made, and there needs to be a final inspection still, but at least it's up. The bulk of the work is up. So next we'll be installing the art wraps, and that's what we're waiting for. You'll be receiving a schedule of events from our grantees. It'll look something like this. Gabby will email it to you about all the public events that they're holding, so that if you want to attend, that would be lovely. Just keep in mind also that this list is a work in progress, because there's some grantees that have not yet submitted their final event, so we will update it constantly. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, so Commissioner members, please note that this is a time for brief updates, comments, and suggestions for future agenda items. Okay, so do we have any commissioners who would wish to share any comments with the commission?
No comment. No comment.
I have just a comment. It's an invitation. October 6th, we have a community event at Madison Neighborhood Association. It's going to be at Madison Park. It's October 6th. It's the 16th annual community fair, and it's been in conjunction for the longest time with UCI, the School of Medicine. Also, Parks and Recreation is part of the event. We have a walkathon, and you are welcome to come and join us.
What time is that?
We start at 8, and it go 8 a.m. and it goes until around 1 p.m. We have music festival through the music and activities for the kids. Everything is free.
I would think that that's something maybe you'd want to share with Trans.
Yes, I will let you
disseminate it.
correct. Send you the flyer, an invitation to all of you.
That sounds fine. Awesome.
Thank you.
I just had a really quick question. Are we still doing the ACC like holiday party or launch or whatever it is?
Yes, I can have a report on that for the next, for our next meeting, but we're not having it at the end of this month. Just to clarify, I know we had said that a while ago, so please take that off your calendar. We're moving it to another date because of the whole lighting and the artwork not being up yet.
If I can make a suggestion to have that calendar maybe also go out with the invite for this launch, for the bathroom thing, just so that people can kind of start,
Yes.
like knowing that this thing is in existence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And then I think lastly, for me, I would like to dive into the issue of the percent for arts, the public arts. I know that we had talked about it at the last commission meeting, kind of generally in regards to revenue generation for the commission. But I would like to make a motion to have this issue put on the agenda for the next meeting.
Motion.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes with unanimous consent. So this concludes the comments. Our meeting is adjourned. No? Our next regular meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. I mean, that's the end. Okay. Thank you.